Hello and welcome. My name is Richard Mardling from Enline, and today's webinar focuses on access management. I'll be talking about the requirements for access management, and a bit later on my colleague Steve Knott will be showing you some of the technology in action. So first off, let's have a think about today's infrastructure. Not so long ago, we built a big wall around it and nothing could come in, nothing could go out, and actually it was all nice and secure because we didn't have to bother about anything else. And then along came the internet, and we wanted to provide access to the internet, so we used technologies such as firewalls, and the two-way traffic there was predominantly email, but actually most of it was outbound. We want to go out and look at somebody else's information, but we were not so keen on allowing other people to come in and look at our information. But over time, we've realised that if we can put up a portal and we can allow people to access our knowledge, our information, then it's good for our business and vice versa. And then over the last few years, we've had the cloud appearing where organisations, departments, small groups of users in fact, will go out to the cloud and buy in a service that they need. So in a very short period of time, our infrastructure has moved from a nice walled, secure, nice and cosy, we know what's going on, to an infrastructure that's now disparate all around the globe, with some in hosted and some through the cloud. If we think about our users today, do they care where the application comes from? Do they care if it comes from the server room just downstairs, from a cloud provider in California, from a host somewhere in India? They're not particularly bothered. They just want access to their data, their applications, wherever they are, whether they're in their office, at home, in a cafe on an unsecured Wi-Fi connection. Security to them is an inhibitor. They just want to get on with their job. And security only comes into play when it affects them if there's a breach. But what does the business require? The business actually wants to have the right people, to have the right level of access to the right application when they need it. It sounds easy, doesn't it? But how diligent are we when we come to managing our users? So, from your point of view, could you go to your Active Directory and say, hand on heart, that all of your users registered in your Active Directory are employees? Probably not. You'll probably find some excess people in there. You may also find people in there who left a short while ago, but you in IT haven't yet been told about it. On top of that, when people are logging onto your network, do you really know who they are? Are they using the credentials of the person that they replaced, or did the line manager diligently let you know that Fred had left and Joe has now joined? So when it comes to access, underneath this we have a set of requirements. So right at the top we've got people. People need access to applications, and those applications have a set of entitlements. That sounds nice and easy, but do we want to give them complete freedom to roam around the application, or do we need to close down some of their entitlements, such as if you were in a purchasing application, do you want to give them the ability to create a supplier and then pay a supplier? Probably that'll give you a segregation of duties breach, but more importantly, it gives people an opportunity to commit fraud. On top of that, you probably want to know where they are. Are they working in the office at the moment? Are they in an unsecured cafe somewhere? Are they working from home? Furthermore, in terms of other context, do you know, are they on shift? Should they be looking at the information at the moment? Is there a particular threat level you need to consider? So all of these things need to be taken into account before you say, here you are, here's your level of access to the application that you require. With access management, there is no one size fits all. If we look at the three different types, first off, let's take enterprise single sign-on. Primarily it's used within an organisation, whether you want to access a green screen application, a client server application, or the latest Java-based technology that you've deployed. One of the great things about enterprise single sign-on is, as well as providing seamless access for the users, you can get a quantitative financial saving from it through reduced help desk calls and improved efficiencies. If we then take web access management, it's ideal if you have a large estate of web-based applications internally. Some organisations deploy it internally, many organisations deploy externally. This could be for partner access, customer, citizen access, and also for you to go out and access their applications and the information that they want to make available to you. One of the great things about web access management is you have centralised policy management. So you can control access based upon a group of users, whether they work for a particular organisation, they have a particular role, they're in a particular department, they access a particular time of day. That's down to you. And then finally, we have federation. Federation has been talked about a lot in political environments, but really it's all about internet single sign-on. It's about being able to sit at your desktop and go through from there through to the application that you want. Where's the best place for it? Partner websites and cloud-based services. So people such as Salesforce.com, Google and so on all have the ability to allow you to federate to them. So, it's just some thoughts at the end. First off, delegate your user management. Over the years, it seems to be that IT departments have assumed responsibility for the users. Personal view is that users still belong to the departments, and the role of the IT department is to serve out applications that can be used by the business and consumed by the users. So go push your line of business managers to look after their users, because they know when somebody's joined, when somebody's left, and when somebody's changed their role. If you're dealing with third parties, make sure you've got an agreement in place. That agreement was there to cover you, so who's responsible for what? Who's responsible for the quality of the data? Who's responsible for the users? And so on. This doesn't have to be a long-winded, drawn-out, expensive process. As if you're already doing business with somebody, you probably find you have an agreement in place. Some agreements we've seen cater for this already. In many instances, though, a short addendum to the current agreement allows you to safely transact with your partners. And finally, if we go back to our users' requirements, where they want to get access to anything, wherever they are, and security they see as an inhibitor, actually today's security technologies will enable you to do more business, to shift to a channel shift, to drive more people through a portal, reduce your costs and improve your profitability. I'd now like to hand over to Steve, who will show you some enterprise single sign-on in action.
Every organisation understands the difficulties of onboarding new employees. The aim is to get a new user logged onto their PC and accessing their applications so they can start being productive instead of waiting for accounts from the help desk. When you have a new starter in your organisation, typically they will meet with a HR on their first day and fill out their employment forms. After they fill out their forms, they'll be assigned a username. In our demonstration scenario, our new user goes to their computer with only their username, and we're going to empower the user to create their own password for their new account by using Enterprise Single Sign-On. ESSO places a genus stub link on the logon screen. The user checks that their username is correct, and then the user is presented with a series of validation questions. Once the user has correctly answered their questions, they are invited to create their new password. Once it's successfully created, they can then log on with their new password. Oracle Enterprise Single Sign-On, ESSO, is a client-side technology that is installed automatically as an agent on the client desktop. You'll notice also that the application credentials can be provisioned directly to this agent. Okay, the user is now ready to start work. Oracle Single Sign-On can log on to any type of application, whether it be Windows, web or host application. In this demonstration, we'll start by launching the email application, which is a Windows type application. Notice ESSO detects the Lotus Notes logon screen and automatically signs the user on. Next, we'll launch the employee's web application. ESSO detects the logon form and automatically inserts the username and password on behalf of the user. It may not be possible to directly provision all application credentials to the desktop. Here is a service desk application. You'll notice that ESSO recognises the logon screen, but the user does not have credentials for this application in Logon Manager at this point. All the user needs to do is type in their username and password, submit it as normal for the very last time, and ESSO silently captures the credentials and stores them encrypted in the encryption store. If the user closes the application and relaunches, ESSO now remembers their credentials and inserts them on their behalf. Okay, so far we've dealt with logon scenarios, but the user may decide to change their password from time to time. The agent can be configured to recognise the change password page and automate this process for the user, automatically generating a random password of the appropriate complexity for the application. The new complex password, is now stored securely, encrypted in the encryption store. The user may change their password manually, but the most likely scenario all users will experience is an application password expiry. The expiry process can also automatically be handled by ESSO. This is the goldmine customer relationship management software where the user's password has been expired. You'll notice that the password expiry was automatically handled by ESSO. A new password was selected using the password policy for the application, and the user was automatically logged back into the application. Next, we'll launch the financial application housed on our AS400 system. Systems of this nature may require a more secure access mechanism than other applications. In this scenario, we have configured ESSO to require a smart card and PIN to access this application. The user does not know their username and password to the AS400 application. By inserting the smart card and the PIN, the user is automatically signed in to the financial application. We have not only smart card enabled this application, but we have smart card enabled this application without the time-consuming integration with the AS400 back-end database. Finally, to demonstrate the complete user experience with this solution, after logging on to Windows, it is a fast, secure access to the working environment. Okay, in summary, managing passwords is burdensome to the end user and is often a security weak spot. Enterprise Single Sign-On is the perfect place to start because it provides rapid deployment to address today's problems while being flexible enough to integrate into the longer-term identity and access management strategy. That concludes this demonstration, and I'll hand you back to Richard to summarise his presentation.
Thank you very much for that, Steve. Hopefully you'll have seen through this webinar that access management technology is there to enable your business, and not only business but to allow your users to achieve what they're looking to do. On top of that, you can get quantifiable financial savings through the implementation of this technology. And out of the back of the access management technology, you will have logs. So you will know who has access to what, and through it you can further tighten your own security without inhibiting what your users are looking to do. If you'd like to know more, please make contact with us via the details on the screen. Thank you very much for your time.